Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're shining a spotlight on a truly fascinating, completely hidden world. We are talking about the secret forces, the silent architects that actually keep your favorite historic sports clubs alive and kicking. When we think about sporting history, our minds naturally jump straight to the legends out there on the field. But today, we're going to look at the people operating in the shadows who make those legends possible in the first place. Because look, we all love the thrilling leaps, right? The last-minute goals, the absolutely deafening cheers of a championship-winning crowd. That is the visible drama that draws us all in. Okay, let's dive into this, because I want to pull the rug out for a second. Contrast all that visible glamour with the gritty back-office reality. We're talking budgets, regulatory compliance, facility maintenance, and here's the truth. Without this invisible bedrock, that visible drama, it simply ceases to exist. Which brings us to a massive, central question. Who really builds a sporting legacy? Is it the star player who drops in, plays their heart out, and leaves after a 5-year contract? Or is it the wizards behind the curtain who ensure the club actually thrives for well over a century? Today, we are officially shifting our attention away from the athletes and onto these unsung heroes. To uncover exactly how they do it, we're going to break this explainer down into 5 key domains. We'll explore the administrative nexus, the guardians of tangible assets, navigating the rulebook, cultivators of the future, and finally, the true architects of legacy. All right, first up, the administrative nexus. Basically, the interconnected responsibilities of administration. And this brilliantly illustrates what we're talking about with 5 fundamental pillars. See, an administrator isn't just a bookkeeper sitting in a back room. They're essentially a world-class plate spinner. They have to simultaneously balance finance, infrastructure, regulations, community, and strategy, and they can't drop a single one. They have to keep this whole wheel perfectly balanced to ensure the club doesn't just get a fleeting moment of success, but actually endures across generations. Moving into our second area. Guardians of tangible assets. This is all about fiscal stewardship and physical spaces. To really wrap our heads around this, let's look at a concept called the resource-based view, or RBV. Sounds super academic, but it's basically a framework showing how unique financial resources, when they are skillfully managed, become a club's ultimate source of sustained competitive advantage. Think of meticulous long-term fiscal stewardship as the club's secret shield. It's the exact thing that protects them during brutal economic downturns, or, when the team just hits a dry spell out on the pitch. Let's picture how this plays out with a hypothetical century-old football club. When the team is losing and ticket revenue drops, these financial guardians step up to the plate. They prioritize cost saving, they defer non-essential spending, and they lean heavily into local business sponsorships to bridge the gap. Then, when the team is finally winning again, they don't just hand out massive bonuses and celebrate. No, they reinvest those profits straight into stadium upgrades and youth academies. They're constantly prioritizing long-term survival over any kind of short-term gain. But hey, it's not just about the money. It's the physical spaces, too. Administrators practice facilities management and heritage conservation. And let me tell you, this is an incredibly delicate balancing act. They have to negotiate between the intense demands of modern high-performance sports and the absolute non-negotiable necessity of preserving the historical authenticity of venues that might be over 100 years old. Let's move to a real-world scenario and see how this actually builds. Think about renovating a historic rowing club's boathouse. Step 1 isn't just grabbing a sledgehammer, it's deep historical research to understand the original architecture. Step 2 involves fighting tooth and nail for grant funding and running targeted fundraising campaigns. And only then do we hit Step 3, where they systematically integrate modern safety and training facilities, all without destroying the building's soul. It's totally masterful. Okay, Section 3, navigating the rulebook, ensuring compliance and ethical conduct. This brings us straight to organizational governance. This is the whole system of ensuring accountability, transparency, and ethical decision-making. In the world of historic sports clubs, strict adherence to the ever-changing rules of national and international sporting federations is absolutely critical. Without it, a club loses its legitimacy, it faces crushing sanctions, and honestly, it could literally be barred from competing altogether. Take a historic basketball club that has always just relied on local talent. Suddenly, the league goes global, and player transfer regulations become an absolute maze. The administrators can't just ignore it and hope for the best. They have to proactively engage with these new rules, study them meticulously, establish completely new communication channels with agents, and build entirely new documentation systems. Their behind-the-scenes legal maneuvering is quite literally the only reason the players are even allowed to step onto the court. Shifting gears now to Section 4, Cultivators of the Future, Membership Engagement and Strategic Planning. You see, historic clubs aren't just businesses. They're living repositories of collective memory. Looking through the lens of organizational sociology and cultural heritage management, we start to see administrators acting as the ultimate cultural custodians. They actively interpret and nurture the social dynamics and the cultural heritage of the club to maintain a really powerful community identity. They're the ones ensuring the stories of past heroes just aren't forgotten. Now, what's really interesting about this is the kind of dual approach a historic cricket club used to revitalize its aging membership base. On one hand, they stuck to traditional methods, maintaining physical archives, carefully curating memorabilia. But they paired that with totally new initiatives. They created digital living history events where old players could connect with young fans online. And they launched brand new family-friendly activities. It is basically the perfect marriage of the past and the future. But, preserving the past just isn't enough on its own. To survive, these administrators must also engage in strategic management. They have to be true strategic visionaries. That means formulating plans to adapt to totally new circumstances and anticipating massive market shifts and changing demographic trends way before they ever threaten the club's existence. A perfect example of this is a historic cycling club that actually saw the writing on the wall. In the past, they were strictly focused on traditional road cycling. But in the present, the administrators conducted deep market analysis and extensive member consultation. And what did they find? A massive, undeniable trend toward off-road disciplines. So for the future, they successfully pivoted. They invested in training facilities and coaching for gravel and mountain biking. That kind of strategic foresight is exactly what guarantees a club's relevance in a rapidly changing sporting landscape. And finally, Section 5, the true architects of legacy. The actual foundation of sporting history. The impact of the administrator is absolute. They are the keepers of institutional memory. They're the primary facilitators of the athletic endeavor itself. They are the guardians of the defining narratives of the club. And ultimately, they're the very bedrock of sporting cultures. Without their unseen efforts, from balancing the absolute tightest budgets to preserving century-old boathouses, the fabric of these historic clubs would just completely fray. So the crucial point is summarized perfectly by this quote from our source text. Administrators emerge not as mere functionaries, but as integral narrative agents, actively shaping the very stories that define these clubs, the silent architects of enduring sporting cultures. It permanently elevates their status, doesn't it? They aren't just paper pushers, they are literally the authors of the club's destiny. Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder. Take a second right now and picture your absolute favorite team. Got it? Now, mentally strip away the administrators. Strip away the budgets, the compliance, the facility care, the heritage preservation. What are you actually left with? Probably not much of a team at all. So the next time you watch a game and marvel at that visible drama on the field, take a second to appreciate the invisible wizards who made that moment possible. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and keep learning.